What's going on YouTube, Diggy546? I'm not going to have an intro, no flashiness. I'm going to get straight into it. Ian Rappaport has reported that Leonard Williams will be franchise tagged today before the 4 p.m. deadline. This is something we all pretty much expected. If you want Leonard Williams to be back, you were going to have to franchise tag him because if he hit the open market, he's probably getting 23, 24 million a year, which is going to blow whatever we can offer out of proportion. So the best thing to do was probably to franchise tag him if you want him back and try to work out a long-term deal. Now the Giants have until July 15th to work out that long-term deal with Leonard Williams. He is pretty much the biggest pass rusher on the entire Giants team. He had 11 and a half sacks, and no one else really came close to that. The pass rush ran through him. He was the reason. He was the person that they had to pay attention to him every single week. Now, was he a Aaron Donald or, crazy, a guy that demands a double team or he'll wreck a game? That's what we're not sure of. We know that he's at least a really, really, above average good pass rusher. And he gets there, he gets the quarterback hits, he gets the pressures. But can he consistently take over games like he did in Seattle or like he did against the Cowboys? I'm not sure if the Seattle game was at home or away, but you guys get the point. He took over that Seahawks game, and that's why we won. That's part of one of the bigger reasons why we won. And then he took over that Cowboys game, which it just shows you he can take over these games, but he has to show the ability to, if they don't put 2-3 people on him the whole game, he has to show that he can just take over in those instances. Now, when you look at the rest of the team, it seems like Dalvin Tomlinson probably isn't going to be back. And I would say he's easier to replace than a pass rusher. You can get a nose tackle. You can get a dominant nose tackle a lot easier than you can get a dominant pass rusher. And it's going to be a lot cheaper. So we're probably not going to be paying him what he's asking for, which is, I don't know what he's asking for, but I'm guessing it's probably between 10 and 13 million a year. He was willing to take a discount, so maybe the Giants make some more cap space free and they end up going after re-signing Dalvin Tomlinson, but right now it looks very unlikely. But going back to Leonard Williams, he's going to get 19.4 million this year, and they're still actually working out the grievance between the NFL and the NFLPA to try to get him as the defensive end. If he does, I'm pretty sure that cap number goes up about $2 million. I'm pretty sure it does because last time they were able to franchise tag him as a defensive tackle. So that 19.4 million could very well be 21.4 million. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not a complete cap expert. I don't work in the NFL, so that might be, something different. But as far as I understand, that cap number could go up the extra 2 million. And when you look at the Giants' cap space right now, they're at about 10 million in cap space. 10 million, maybe 12 million in cap space. But either way, I saw an article that said that they're going to have to create about 9 million in cap space to be able to even sign this guy and be at zero. So they're going to have to look at Nate Solder again. They're going to have to look at Kevin Zeitler again. They're going to have to look at guys like, I saw B.J. Hill as a possible cut, which wouldn't make me too happy, but B.J. Hill pretty much was the guy I had as a replacement for Leonard Williams if he left. So if Leonard Williams is back, you might look at cutting B.J. Hill and clearing that $2 million that he would get from him. We're going to look at a couple of guys like Martinez and Bradbury and maybe even Sterling Shepard to try to work out a restructure. We're going to have to restructure at least one of those three guys. I'm thinking Bradbury and Martinez are the best options because those guys you probably want to keep more than what you have them on. You have them on 3-year deals, which means next year, 2022 season is their last season as Giants. And I think they have a little bit more of their prime left. So maybe you extend them 1 or 2 years and, you give them that salary raise, but you spread it out to where that salary doesn't hit until the end of that deal. So, pay them off their guaranteed money, maybe, at the end of next year. And then by that way, for the 2022 season, you have the flexibility to cut them, to trade them, to do whatever you have to without as much cap hit. And you also will get the extra money this year. I think Bradbury's around $17 million. I think Martinez might still be around 10 million. So there's things that you can do to get those cap numbers down. Also, another thing you could do, if we were in a much better situation right now, extending Saquon would help so much right now to get those cap numbers down. Logan Ryan's contract, I've revisited a bunch of times. Logan Ryan's contract, $7 million is a steal for a player of Logan Ryan's caliber, but is he absolutely necessary? As in the 3 safety rotation, is he absolutely necessary? I don't know, but he's here for now, and that's just what we have to deal with. But as I said, if Saquon were healthier, this would be a perfect time to extend him. This would be a perfect time to extend the guys I said, Martinez and Bradbury, and a couple of these other guys that we feel great about to get those cap numbers down. And then, as I say almost every video now, it seems like this would be a perfect time to trade Evan Ingram. You trade Evan Ingram, guess what? You get a 4th-round pick. Guess what? You could leverage one of those 4th-round picks to trade up and get a defensive tackle. Or you could just sit there and take a defensive tackle, a big defensive tackle, in the 4th round. Because we're going to have to find out how to replace Dalvin Tomlinson, because I doubt that we're going to spend 30-something million plus a 1st-round pick next to them on the defensive tackles. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. So we're going to have to find ways to replace that defensive tackle position, and we need cap space. So dump Evan Ingram's contract on someone else and just, run with it after that. I think that that's such a great idea. Even if Evan Ingram was, not as much of a bad thing for the Giants, if he wasn't so unlucky and so accident prone for the Giants, he would still be a candidate to be traded because of his position, because he's not the best, top 3 or 4 tight end in the league, and he's making $7 million. He's not producing like a guy who's making that much. All we have for him is potential, and he's in his 4th year. He's in his 4th year, and he's going into his 5th year. So he's definitely worth getting rid of, trading. I say this every video now, and it just seems like it makes too much sense. We don't have much cap space, so we're going to have to look at getting rid of guys like Nate Solder, who doesn't want to retire. That would have helped us a lot in the cap area. So we only saved $6 million by cutting Nate Solder. We would save $12 million by getting rid of Zeitler, which makes it seem like we almost have to do now. And, we got to restructure a couple of guys. So I'm happy on one side that Leonard Williams is back, but on the other side, I kind of was curious to see what we could have possibly done with that extra cap space. You're going to look at a lot of restructures and a lot of things that are going to happen for the Giants to get under their proper amount of cap space to be able to draft players, to have money for the season. So you're going to have to look at a couple of more moves that are going to have to be made unless Leonard Williams gets that long-term deal before free agency, which I don't see happening. But it all is contingent on him getting that long-term deal and some restructures happening for us to really be able to go out and get anybody, to be able to even bring back a Kyler Fackrell, to get that second corner if we thought. We can't sign these guys on free agency to $2, $3, $4 million deals because we're at pretty much negative right now. So it'll be interesting to see what the Giants do in the coming days before free agency, because they're going to have to get creative. Going to have to put some money back. So you guys let me know what you think of Leonard Williams being back. I'm sure some people love it and some people hate it.